Sure. All right, let's waste no time. Let's jump into what we're going to cover tonight. Listen, some of this stuff we covered earlier, I'm going to go rapid fire so it's not redundant. I know there's some people that are tuning in right now that weren't on the show earlier today or tuning into the show earlier today. So we're just going to hit it in rapid fashion. Micah Parsons, let's start there. Okay. He put the tweet out September with an exclamation point, the salute emoji, and the lion emoji. Okay. So, and obviously the picture of the battered lion there with the scarred eye, the scars on the nose, and everything. We talked about this earlier. So Micah Parsons is aiming to return next year in September. It was confirmed. I know Jordan Schultz was the first tweet I seen earlier today. Shout out to him. That it is a torn ACL and he's done for the year. No surprise there. It's what we expected, right? So Micah Parsons, injury update there. Probably October next year, but who knows, man? It could be September. I wouldn't rule it out. Micah's a beast. So there's your update on Micah Parsons. Oh, that's scary right there, right? Let's try to get that back under control. All right, so next update, Christian Watson. Ian Rappaport tweeted this out. This was great news. We put a video out on this earlier today. Packers standout wide receiver Christian Watson, who went down yesterday holding his shoulder, did not suffer a major injury, sources say. So positive injury news on a bad day. One of Green Bay's most explosive weapons. The offense thrives while he's on the field, an essential piece. So again, what do we make of this? To the best of my knowledge, trying to comb through all the information that's been released on the internet, I feel comfortable saying that Watson is day to day, or what some would refer to as week to week, right? What does that mean? He could go this Saturday, possibly. I think it's possible against the Bears. I think it's unlikely he goes. So if it was a playoff game, based off of what I'm hearing, and I could be completely wrong. Again, there's no like official, here is the diagnosis, here's what's going on, here's how long he'll be out, right? But based off of what I'm kind of just feeling out there, if it was a playoff game, season on the line, Watson will probably be out there in a limited fashion. I don't know, full-time, I don't know. But I kind of feel like there's a chance he misses Saturday, and he will be back next week if everything goes as planned. That's what it feels like there. So we got Tim joining us now. Tim, we're just running through all the injury updates here, man. We talked about Parsons being out, looking like he's targeting September of next year. It may be October, but early next year. And then Christian Watson, man, am I wrong? Are you reading this a different way? It kind of feels like Christian Watson might play this Saturday. Or do you think it's something that we're going to look up and go, no, he's out for 2 to 3 weeks? What do you think on here, man?
My gut's telling me there's a possibility he plays on Saturday. That's what I'm thinking, with it not being a major injury. I think it's day to day. I think on the safe side, maybe a week or two, but there's still a chance. You're telling me there's a chance. We're going to need all hands on deck against the Bears down in Chi-Town. So, and Scoot, right? I mean, look at the end of last year. I mean, he wanted to go in a game that we didn't really need against the Bears, and ended up ending his season. So I think if he feels like he can play, he's going to want to go. I think it's going to be up to the staff and the team ultimately to figure out what they want to do. But I'm with you, Clay. I would err on the side of caution if he needs to miss a week so that he can be 100% or as close to it as he can be for the Baltimore Ravens at Lambeau. I'm down with letting him sit out. But to me, it looks like he's day to day until we hear otherwise.
Yeah. And one of the things that I did not have prepared, I've got AI searching the internet right now to see if we can get a little information on it. I did not put on the list, but I'm glad it got brought up. Was Joseph in the chat said, what about Josh Whyle, right? And it sounds like he left with a concussion in the first half, right? So to the best of my knowledge, Joseph, what that would end up being is obviously concussion protocol. So it's still too early. It's be one of those things that they'll have to get him in concussion program. Now, it being a short week, chips are kind of stacked against you a little bit, right? So, but we know Wiley too, man. He's a tough SOB. If he can go, he'll go. So I'm glad you brought that up though, because that's one that I overlooked for sure. And I think key piece, Tim, Josh Wiley's been very underrated as a Packer. I feel like, man, he's feeling a lot of wearing a lot of hats. With some of the Sith blocking and some of the leaks and things like that.
I agree 100%. I mean, since Tuck Norris went down, Wiley really stepped up, and Fitzpatrick has stepped up for that matter, and, Musgrave as well. But when you look at the tight end room, if there's no Josh Wiley available, what are we looking at beyond Musgrave and Fitzpatrick in that tight end room? So, if he's in the protocol, he's in the protocol. It's not really up to him. But I'm with you, Clay. He's tough as nails, and he's a guy, if he passes the test, he's going to want to go. And hopefully he's available because we're going to need it.
Yeah. And 2-0 for this says concussion from getting hit low. I remember them saying on the telecast, unless they got it wrong, it was a concussion, was what was reported. Just combing through AI, this is the update. It said latest updates on Green Bay Packers tied in Josh Whyle's injury from yesterday. Loss to the Broncos indicate he suffered a concussion in the first half, possibly a crown of the helmet hit, and was ruled out for the remainder of the game. He has entered the NFL's concussion protocol and cannot return until cleared, with the potential to miss Saturday's game against the Bears due to the short week, though concussions typically don't sideline players for extended periods. No further diagnostic details or specific timeline beyond the protocol have been reported yet. So it looks like AI heard the same thing I heard there, that it was a concussion. So, and I know what you mean, man. It was kind of a weird, the dude kind of submarined in, but I think he still was able to hit the helmet.
I think he clipped him helmet to helmet just barely on that play. I know what he's talking about, though. I remember that. It looked like he shot low, and you were thinking knee or thigh or something like that, but I think there was some contact to the head there on that hit.
Yeah, definitely. Sanguine Camper says playoffs, the Packers are finished for 2025 and 2026. Stop deluding yourselves, bub. You might want to look up. We got an 89% chance of making the playoffs right now. So good luck with that, man. Appreciate you swinging through, though. Chester Marco, Sanguine Camper. That's not very sanguine. So there you go. All right. So we got the let's move on to Zack Tom here. This one I feel like is huge, Tim, because again, the offensive line to me is a bigger issue. I am more concerned about Zack Tom missing than Micah Parsons in the short term, because it's like, all right, if you're going to keep Jordan Love upright, you got some opponents coming up that it's like, yeah, it would be great to have Micah Parsons. He's awesome and all that, right? When you get in the playoffs, it would be huge. But I just kind of feel like right now, man, the offensive line, the boat's sinking there, right? With the edge rushers, you may be getting Brenton Cox Jr. back, LVN's back now. You get a lot more bodies, and not just bodies, but above average to good players, as opposed to if Zack Tom's out, man, he was the only really bright light on the offensive line here lately. So if he's out, that's going to be tough. Here is what AI combed through and found. It says the latest updates on Green Bay Packers right tackle Zack Tom's knee injury from yesterday's loss indicate that he avoided any structural damage and is not expected to face a long-term issue. All right. He exited the game in the second quarter after getting hurt on a play involving Josh Jacobs' touchdown reception. He was replaced by Darian Kennard. Head coach Matt LaFleur has stated uncertainty around the exact recovery timeline, which could range from 1 to 3 weeks, and Tom is unlikely to suit up for Saturday's game against the Chicago Bears, given the quick turnaround. It's unclear at this point if he'll miss additional time beyond that. So it sounds like, Tim, he's probably not going to go on IR. That would say 4 weeks, right? So it's probably going to be somewhere between 1 to 3 weeks. If he's not 100%, don't put him out there on Saturday. That's the way I see that. And again, there's probably a lot of fans that would disagree with that. However, what do you think about Zack Tom? There anything you want to add to that, man?
We dodged a bullet, right? I mean, we're talking about him not even going to IR, which is a good thing. And again, same sentiment. If it means holding him out a week or two to have him for the playoffs, I'm down. Let's go. Never underestimate the Chicago Bears' ability to pee down their own leg in their own building in a big game. So if we can get past Chicago without Zack Tom, I don't think we need to risk it, but there is some debate whether or not we can actually do that. But bottom line, it's not over with for him. Just like we found out with Scoot, right? His season's not over day to day. But yeah, obviously Zack Tom is the single best offensive lineman that we have on this roster. And, if him sitting a week means we get him for 2 or 3 games or 4 games down the stretch, I say sit him, Yeah,
definitely. So another injury to keep an eye on. I don't have a definitive answer on this. I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow when we get our first injury report. I think we'll get it a day early, right? With the game being on Saturday, I would imagine the first injury report would drop tomorrow. But Jayden Reed, all right? So the latest updates we have here, He suffered a right knee injury during the team's final possession in the fourth quarter, hobbling to the sideline while grabbing his knee after an incomplete pass and not returning to the game, albeit it was just a minute left in the game, right? No further details on severity, diagnostic tests, or recovery timeline has been reported yet, though Reed had only recently returned from a multi-month absence due to prior injuries with the broken collarbone of the foot. The Packers' first injury report of the week expected Tuesday. So we have no information whatsoever on Jayden Reed. It kind of looked to me, Tim, like he went down and landed on the kneecap. And you guys may see that a different way. I'm kind of remember everything's kind of a blur there too. The All-22 doesn't do a great job of showing you that. Obviously, it was the TV copy that they showed a replay of his knee hitting. It's one of those things, Tim, that it's like, okay, yeah, he just landed on his knee, maybe bruise it a little bit, but also with the bruising, if it's a bone bruise, Josh Jacobs' knee swelling up continuously, it's kind of a big deal. So I'm eager to see what's said about Reed. Another one of those players going into Saturday. If Christian Watson's banged up, right, Jayden Reed's banged up, you try to put them both out there, and one of, or God forbid, both hurt themselves further, now you're kind of screwed for any kind of playoff run you want to put together, you know? So I'm eager to hear what happens with Jayden Reed here. Do you have any info on that by chance, man? Anything you
No, I don't, but I do remember the play, and I was relieved that, you know, training staff didn't have to come out there and get him off the field. He kind of just hobbled himself off. So hopefully it's, like you said, a contusion or a bruise, and, you know, he can work his way through it. But, you know, we said the same thing about Josh, to your point. You know, Josh has been dealing with this for more than a month now, and, you know, has had to be on a snap count and missed a little time. So hopefully Bird's good to go. Again, another day-to-day thing. But, you know, like you said, man, if it means losing him down the stretch, hold him out too if he's not 100%, right?
Yeah, definitely. And Ray and Creed in the chat, I've got your all's chat mark. We'll hit that when we get to the playoff talk. Those are good questions. I'm just trying to stay organized here, so appreciate your all's questions on that. We'll try to hit that when we get there for sure. So, yeah, as J. Cole says, bruised knee. That's what it looks like, right? At least it looked like it on the surface there. So, again, we'll let you guys know if we get any updates on Jayden Reed in real time. So, next on the list here, Tim, it's like a grocery list here, man. This is unbelievable. Next, you got Evan Williams, all right? The latest we got on Evan Williams was he suffered a knee sprain during a non-contact play in the third quarter. Now, there might be some speculation there. I see a couple of links to websites that may have reported that, so maybe they have a source, maybe they don't. Do your own research there. If you guys have any information, fire it into the chat. But it says he is considered week to week and expected to miss 1 or 2 games, but avoided long-term or serious structural damage with a potential return before the end of the regular season. Head coach Matt LaFleur noted post-game that the injury doesn't appear serious in the long term, though the exact recovery timeline remains unclear and could range from 1 to 3 weeks as well. Williams is unlikely to play in Saturday's game against Chicago. So it sounds like probably 1 to 2, maybe 1 to 3 weeks for Evan Williams. I say, once again, put Zane Anderson out there. Let's try to get Evan healthy for those last 2 games of the season down the stretch there, man. Anything you want to add there? I
agree with you. Give me some big money Zane out there, or, you know, when in doubt, Mr. himself in a pinch. You never know. But, yeah, if it's 1 to 2 weeks, again, same thing. You know, hold Evan out. As bad as I'd like to go undefeated in the division this year, you got to think about the playoff picture, because, like you said, there's still a path for a wild card spot, even if we lose out. So you got to think about the postseason, and you got to think about being as healthy as you can be going into that postseason. And at this point, I'm not willing to take too many chances with, you know, our premier players and pieces on this defense and on this offense. So I think if he's not good to go, hold him out. You know, Zane Anderson, you know, we think of him as a special teamer, but we know he can lower the boom out there and play a little safety himself. So I'm all for letting him get those snaps for sure.
I think he played 160 snaps last year, which is not a huge sample size, but it's not like 30 snaps. He graded out an 80. And that was one of the players that when you watched the tape and you looked at the PFF grade, it seemed to match. He seemed to play pretty good. And he was a scrappy player, got an interception in one of his only games that he started, if I remember correctly, or maybe he came in as a replacement after Evan Williams got hurt last year. It might have been that. But I have a lot of faith in Zane. I don't think Zane will go out there and crap the bed, you know?
Yeah.
So again, man, it sucks to have to say this, but you got to kind of look ahead and go, okay, what's more important? Going out there and trying to beat the Bears and risking getting all these guys. First of all, they're not going to be 100%. Then you're not going to get the best product on the field, right? And then you don't allow them to heal up for the Ravens game or for the Vikings game, and then the playoffs. It's kind of the worst of both worlds. If that makes sense. So
you do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
That's right, Coach. That's right. All right, next, Nate Hobbs. It says latest updates on him. They left the game briefly in the second half, but returned for 2 more snaps. So I don't know if that was the only 2 snaps played after that. I can't really remember. With staff reporting, he's made a lot of progress, though his status of Saturday's game against the Chicago Bears remains unclear pending further evaluation. Obviously, he's talking about a lot of progress with the previous injuries. It sounds like, best of my knowledge, they expect him to practice this week. All right. So we'll find that out tomorrow. It might be like Jayden Reed. We look up and he doesn't participate, right? And that's been one of the big things for Nate Hobbs. Obviously, he's been banged up all year since he got to Green Bay. He's never really got a fair shake at getting a good run at where he fits into the defense and building some momentum. He came into camp, got hurt, tried to get healthy after camp, got hurt again, and then of course yesterday was in there and he got banged up. So yeah. That's the latest on Nate Hobbs. And then, of course, Josh Jacobs. I was a little concerned, Tim. I felt like he was dominant yesterday. When he was in the game, the catch he made in the end zone, the 40-yard touchdown run, the whole 9 yards, he looked good. But also when he would go to the sideline, when he would tap out and need a breather or whatever, or need to rest that knee, it kind of looked like he was walking gingerly off the field. But here is what the report says there. It says blah, blah, blah. He's listed as questionable due to that lingering right knee contusion. We talked about that. Limited in practice all week, right? It says Jacobs performed well, rushing for 75 yards on 18 carries, including that 40-yard touchdown, 17 receiving yards and another touchdown. So he had 92 total yards, if this is correct here. You guys, again, check the box score yourself. Post-game, he spoke to the media about the team's injuries, but did not indicate any worsening of his own condition. His status for Saturday's game against the Chicago Bears will be clarified in the upcoming injury report. So the fact that he met with the media, he didn't say, yeah, my knee's bothering me. I imagine they probably asked him to. I don't know. You'd have to go and comb through all of the media availability there at the locker. But sounds like I think Josh Jacobs will go. It'd probably be very similar to last week. Snap count, right, kind of limited. And Emmanuel Wilson, of course, should be in much better shape this week. Obviously, he battled an illness. That's why he looked a little off. And I just tip my cap to Emmanuel Wilson for just going out there and grinding it out, toughing it out for us, man. Because, again, we know he was sick as a dog all week long is what the reports were. So
I agree 100%. Same thing with Josh, right? Gritting through that knee. My money's on 100% possibility that both of these guys play on Saturday. I think you'd have to, handcuff them to the bed to get them to not be on the field on Saturday against the Bears. But again, snap count probably for Josh. And then, like you said, hopefully Emmanuel Wilson is, fully recovered from the illness. Big props to him for dealing with the altitude, dealing with the sickness, going out there, trying to play special teams, trying to run the football, trying to lay some blocks out there. You could just tell he was not 100% there physically. So hopefully that changes by Saturday. But I don't think Josh Jacobs misses this game, considering what's at stake down the stretch here for this team. I think he's going to try and go.
I think so too. So that is all the information we have on the injury updates as it sits right now. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. If you have some information we overlooked, if there's another player that was injured, let us know. And let us know how you feel about these players. Obviously Parsons looking to make a September return next year. Christian Watson, Zack Tom, Jayden Reed, Evan Williams, Nate Hobbs, Josh Jacobs, and anybody we missed. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you know when we go live in the future.